Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Today, we've prepared 4 brand new stories for you. In the first, we'll tell you how our OP was arrested by mistake. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Actually called the cops on me. I do freelance IT work for people, and that oftentimes requires building a computer. I get a message from someone at the time I thought was a friend asking me to build a computer for him. I help him pick out the parts. It came out to a couple $1,000s. I told him he could pay up front or he could pay in installments and got the computer when he was done. We have a verbal contract that he was going to pay up, so I put the machine on a credit card knowing he'd pay. I'd pay off the card and I'd pocket the extra I charge for labor and time. A week later, it's set up, and he's refusing to pay, saying that since I'm not a legit business, because I don't have a brick-and-mortar location, I'm not a real business, so he doesn't have to pay. I tell him it's waiting for him to pay. If not, I'll sell it to someone else. A couple hours later, police cars show up, and they intend to arrest me for stolen property. I explained the situation, sat them down, and showed them my chat logs with the customer while I offered them coffee. Apparently, he was cited for misuse of 911. I ended up parting out the system to recoup the costs. This is why you always need a written contract. And our second story. You're free to do whatever you like, but I will have to have you arrested. So a few years back, I was running a gas station inside a U.S. national park. Gas station prices are always high, and tourism prices are even higher. Snacks were pretty average, but if you needed a phone charger or jumper cables, it was going to be pretty pricey. But that's what you get for coming unprepared. So one day I have 2 guys pull up in their pickup, middle-aged white executive types who seem used to people bending over backwards for them. They need gas, and they need a gas can so they can take a fill-up back to their generator down at Blank Creek. Of course, the people who bring a generator to a remote campsite are my least favorite kind, but what can you do? I grab the can and they scoff when I ring it up, and it's around $25, so they walk away. It's no skin off my nose. I'm happy to know their generator won't be running all night. About 5 minutes later, they come back in and purchase a jug of windshield washer fluid, and then they start to pester my other customers, asking if they can fill up their windshield washer reservoirs. I'm getting suspicious. Me. Seriously? You're gonna do that right in front of me? You have to know that's illegal. C. Well, we need something to put the gas in. Me. Yeah, I can sell you a legal gas can, but using that container is illegal. It's so thin the gas might eat through it on your way back. It's not safe for you or the park. C. It's my container now. I can use it however I need to. Me. You can do whatever you like with your jug. Good luck convincing me to sell you any gasoline. C. Fine. We'll just take it somewhere else. Me. Of course, sir. Next gas station is 20 miles south over at Mount Blank. This was our favorite gag. All the stations are run by the same company, and all the employees were pretty close, so whenever one of us had a difficult customer who insisted on driving to the next station, he or she would just call that station and give them a heads up. Then whoever was working the next station would repeat the exact same conversation, using the exact same words if possible, and offer that they were welcome to check out the next station at wherever it was they just came from. But this guy wasn't having it. See. Look, we're just going to pour this out, and then we'll put a little gas in it. It's no big deal. This is crazy illegal. We're in a national park. Why did you come if you just want to run a generator and pour chemicals into the soil? But it also was just so funny because I know these guys have zero power in this situation. Me and my most bored tone possible, sir, if you pour out chemicals onto federally protected land, I'll have to call the law enforcement rangers. Their office is that building next door. I know what you're driving, I know where you're staying, and I know that there's exactly one road that you could possibly be driving on for the next 30 minutes. You'll be arrested or heavily fined or both. You'll also be removed from the property and will have a federal record. C. Fine, we'll just return the fluid. Me. I'm sorry, we have a no return policy. Enjoy your stay. Should have let them do it and have them arrested. And our next story. Can't leave before the end of my notice period? No problem. Last month, my manager drops a bombshell. The company has decided to scrap the big project that my team had been working on for the past 2 years. We must wrap up everything, and starting from June, we'll all be moved to different teams. Now, I'm a data analyst, and the company doesn't have any open projects that require a data analyst, so they looked at my profile, saw I had some basic knowledge of programming, and decided to move me to the dev team. Both me and the dev team think it's an insane idea because I'll need lots of training before I become useful, and I don't even want to be a full-time dev. But upper management hasn't bothered to ask for our opinion before making all the arrangements. I immediately start looking for a new job. And as luck would have it, there's an extremely high request for data analysts in my area. Within a few weeks, I have an offer in hand and I give my notice. My contract, I'm in the EU, is very strict regarding notice periods. A resigning employee must give 2 months' notice. This is entirely for the benefit of the company that'll need to find a replacement. The same applies when a company fires an employee. They must give the employee 2 months' notice. However, it's possible to shorten the notice period by mutual agreement. So when I sit down with my manager in HR, I tell them I'd like to give only 2 weeks' notice and leave at the end of May. I tell them I've already started wrapping up my activities before my move to the dev team, and I don't have any ongoing projects that I need to transfer to my colleagues, so 2 weeks would be more than enough to finish documenting everything. They say absolutely no, I have to stay here for the entire 2-month period. Which is fine by me. My new job doesn't start until August, and I don't mind being paid in the meantime. The only reason I suggested shortening the notice period was because I thought I was doing the company a favor. I thought I'd be stealing their paycheck if I stayed 2 months even though I don't have anything left to do. But since they pretty much told me I was being unprofessional or that I was trying to cut and run, okay, I'll take their money in exchange for sitting around doing nothing for a few more weeks. You may think, but OP, they're going to find some boring task for you. Well, they can certainly try, but the projects they're working on are so different from what I do that I'm pretty much useless to them. For example, someone will ask, can you do XYZ? And I'll honestly answer, I have no idea what an XYZ even is, but I'll be happy to help if you teach me. At that point, they'll say it'd take too long and it's not worth it to train me since I'm leaving soon. So my working days now go like this. I show up at 9 a.m. sharp and go to my office, where I'm the only person since the others were moved to different teams. I have a leisurely second breakfast, check my email, then I send a message to our Teams group letting them know that I'm free and ask me if they need any help with anything. Then I remote into my home PC and play until lunchtime. I have lunch, coffee, I chat with my coworkers. They're quite nice. It's too bad that upper management's crazy. I'm going to miss them. In the afternoon, I usually check Reddit, chat with my friends if they're online, and play a bit more. And I'm out the door at 5 p.m. By the way, they'd like me to vacate the office so they can use it as a meeting room, but they can't until I leave. There are no empty desks anywhere, and the dev team already hired someone else and has no space, so tough luck. Sounds great to me. You don't have to do crap and get a paycheck at their insistence. And our last story. Now you're in jail, and I'm going to take everything you have left. Our 40-something neighbor, Frank Smith, has a brother 3 years older named Mark, with the two similar in looks and build. Apparently, these boys were not obedient children and got into trouble a lot. Frank, mostly, straightened up by the time he reached 21, but Mark kept at it, with drinking, smoking, multiple DUIs, etc. While the two were still living at home with their parents in their early 20s, Frank happened to leave his wallet on the kitchen counter one night after coming home from a night out. The next morning, he discovered his ID wasn't in his wallet. Thinking he must have left it at the bar the night before, he tried locating it, but with no luck. Not thinking much about it, he just got a new ID. Fast forward a year or so, and Frank gets a phone call. It's his uncle, whose son works at the county jail. Mark has been arrested, and their cousin happened to see him when he was getting booked under the name Frank Smith. Turns out Mark had given the police Frank's name and ID and was going to jail under Frank's identity. Needless to say, Frank was pissed. He went down to the jail to prove he was Frank and Mark was a liar. Mark was ultimately sentenced to serve time and stayed put. During the time that Mark was in jail, Frank received a letter in the mail from the state DMV. It said that his two vehicles, an Audi sedan and a VW Bug, were due for e-checks, emission checks. Frank was confused because he only owned a truck. He went to the DMV and discovered that the two vehicles were indeed in his name. That's when Frank realized that his brother, who'd lost the right to own a vehicle due to excessive DUIs, used his identity to register these cars. The revenge. Frank asked how much it cost to get duplicates of the titles. $8 each. so he paid $16 and walked away with the title documents for the 2 cars. He knew enough of his brother's friends to start calling around in search of the cars. Lo and behold, he located them both at different locations. Frank is a knowledgeable mechanic and could start these cars without keys, but he knocked on the door of each house where the cars were. He explained to each person that he owned the title to the car, showing them the document, and gave them the opportunity to remove their belongings from the vehicle before he took it. They understood and didn't push back, taking their things out of the car and handing him the keys. Frank proceeded to sell both cars and pocket around $3,000 for all his troubles. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.